Hello, and welcome to Eloqua Office Hours, our monthly session covering marketing automation insights and solutions. Your questions drive office hours, so we appreciate those who submitted questions that we will cover today. This session is being recorded, and you'll receive the replay link via email tomorrow. We have two special offers to share at the end of today's session, so be sure to stick around. Finally, after we end, we'd appreciate your feedback through a brief survey to help us improve future sessions. I'm Sebastian Martinez, Account Director at Forethought Marketing, and I'll be your host today. Our presenter today is Mark Lavelle, Forethought Marketing's CEO. Mark has over 25 years of experience in Silicon Valley, including founding two successful CRM startups. He built Televel, one of the first sales automation companies, and served as VP of Sales at Market to Lead. He has helped hundreds of companies implement marketing, sales, and privacy solutions. If you have any questions during today's presentation, and we hope that you do, please use the Q&A feature so we can keep everything organized. Feel free to ask questions about today's topics or suggest topics for future sessions. And with that introduction, let me turn the time over to Mark, who will kick off today's presentations.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Mark Lavelle, as was just mentioned, and today we're going to talk about Beyond the Prompt, Strategic AI Planning for Marketing Automation. Quick question. I just want to make sure, Sebastian or Richard, that you guys can see my screen okay beyond the prompt. I want to make sure that's going out.
Correct. Yep. Yes,
Thank
we can
you.
see it.
I was having just a little issue on my side, just double checking. All right, so let's go ahead and dig in. So, question is, how do you go about creating a 2026 marketing automation plan? And there's a very sort of standard way that a lot of people do this. They go into their AI and they ask it a question. Say, hey, I want to create a 2026 marketing automation plan. I want to do A, B, and C. And they create a plan. I'm going to switch desktops over here for a second, and we can see that I did just that on this screen. Create a marketing automation plan for 2026. And we have something that it's created here. The interesting thing about what it's created here is that everything in it has really no relationship at all to what Richard and I want in our 2026 plan. It's all effectively made up. You could use the term hallucinated, although it's not, wrong information. It's just not right information. It's not pulled from anything that's sort of solid. So we want to move beyond and go beyond just basic entry of this. And to do that, we have 5 different levels, 6 actually, if you include our continuous improvement level, which you'll see in a minute, of ways to improve on this. And the first thing you want to do is understand what your goal is. You may want to just create a plan. You've got something in mind. You have next year's vision. What you're really looking for is a ghostwriter relationship. You want A to do the writing for you. You want it to be responsive to you, but you know what your plan is, and you're just looking for it to help you write it. Alternatively, you may want brainstorming assistance. You may want the AI to help you envision it. You may need a more creative situation from the AI. You may be looking for an ideation or partner relationship. And this requires your prior results, your prior reports. And these are very different objectives, and they require very different sets of data. When you're working from an envisionment perspective, you need to feed the AI what's happened last year, what your goals were last year, what your results were last year. And then in this case, you want to do what's called recursive prompting, which I will jump to in just a second. And this is really a precursor, a step prior to documenting your plan. So you can do this on your own, or you can do this with AI. And when you do this, again, you need a whole bunch of different documents that you want to pull together. This is not necessarily an exact list, but it's a kind of a start of the list in terms of, what are you doing from an organizational level? What are you doing from a marketing department level? What are you doing from an automation level? How are you doing from an historical performance perspective? And there's multiple others here too. By the way, this list of documents that you might want to create a vision for your marketing automation is available by emailing either info@forethought.marketing or Sebastian or Al on our sales team. So this first step, create a basic marketing automation plan, asking it and getting a result. is very basic. We want to move beyond that. You obviously would do more than this. You'd type more than a sentence. You might type a paragraph or two, but this is really the level one most people work with AI. Level two is to take a step up. And some of the problems with this, as I've just sort of said, is it's very open-ended. The overall goal is very vague. There's no length specified. There's no output format specified. You're not giving the AI an opportunity to ask you any questions. You're not giving it any examples. And in this case, the AI will always do the best it can, as I just showed you in the actual AI screen, but you will almost definitely be disappointed with the results. So this takes us to level two, beyond just typing in a quick prompt. And this next level is called meta prompting. And meta prompting, also called pre-prompting, is basically having the AI write the prompt for you. And this is much stronger than just writing a paragraph or two yourself. And I'm going to jump over to AI for a second, go to this second screen. And you'll notice on the left-hand side of the screen, this is using ChatGPT. You can also use Claude, whichever you like. But in ChatGPT, you can explore GPTs, and one of the types of GPTs you can explore is a prompt creation one. And it'll look up and find these different GPTs, these custom pre-prompted GPTs. This is one created by OpenAI called Prompt Engineer. You can click on it, you can start a conversation with it, you can build a new prompt from scratch. And now you can say the same thing that we did in the earlier one, but it now asks you questions. And so you can go in and sort of say the same thing we did in the previous chat, to which we got a very generic marketing automation plan. But you can say, hey, I want to create a marketing automation plan. And you can say prompt. And again, it'll ask you these questions. You can answer these questions, and it'll give you a prompt that you can then paste into ChatGPT, which, as you can see, is substantially more robust than something that you would probably write yourself. Now, if you do this, and when you create this prompt, you shouldn't take this prompt and just dump it into ChatGPT and say, hey, okay, you're prompted. You should read this prompt through. You should look at what you want and what you don't want, what is good about it and not appropriate about it for your particular situation. And that really is level two. It's, instead of creating the prompt yourself, using AI, or more specifically, potentially using the specific GPT prompt, or there's Claude has one too, to basically create a prompt for yourself. Level three, beyond meta prompting, is probably the most important level of prompting possible. And this is where you get the AI to ask you questions. Now, at Forethought Marketing, we have something called needs analysis. We have an engagement model. And one of the early stages of the engagement model, really something that everybody does for all projects, we call needs analysis. And what you're doing here is you're asking the AI to do needs analysis for you, to ask you the questions about what your idea is and what your idea is for 2026. And then you end up with an idea that is now well thought out. So if we popped over to AI for a second here and we look at this, um, key phrase here when doing this is ask me questions one by one. This one by one is extremely important, because if you don't say one by one, the questions won't build on your previous answers. You'll get this whole long list of questions. You can give all the answers to it, and it will be better than if you didn't have the AI ask you questions, but it won't be nearly as good as if you say one by one, until you have a good understanding of what I'm thinking regarding a 2026 marketing automation plan. So it starts asking me questions here, and I've already done this, obviously, just to save us some time. What primary business outcomes do you want your plan to drive for? And it gave me a couple examples here, which is nice. And I said incorporation of AI into our department and more leads, right? Everybody always wants more leads. So it asked me some follow-on questions. Note that the follow-on questions are related to my answer. This is the advantage of the one by one phrase. When you say incorporation of AI, what specific areas of your marketing operations do you want to improve? And I asked the question, okay, which are most appropriate for AI? In other words, I don't know the answer, so I'm asking for some more information. Gives me a lot of great options here on how to incorporate AI into a marketing automation plan. And I tell it I'm most interested in number 7 and number 9. And then it asked me some follow-on questions for number 7 and number 9. And the outcome, the result of this, is it pulling from me without me having to think through all the right questions and all the right answers. It pulls from me proactively what I'm interested in, what I'm not interested in for a 2026 marketing automation plan. And so the net result is you are now have a idea that is well thought out, could be, a 2 to 3 pages in length. It's not really a marketing automation plan yet because it's not laid out that way. It's not designed that way. But there's a lot of specifics on your ideas, a lot of questions and answers. And when you feed those questions and answers, especially with a superior prompt into your AI, you are absolutely, level 3 is way, way better than level 1 or even level 1 and level 2. The next level beyond level 3 is example prompting. And this is giving the AI an example on what is what this says design doc here. It actually is actually left over from another presentation. It should say marketing automation plan template. And so you can get these example plans from a lot of places. You could use last year's plan. You can feed it in which case this year's plan will look a lot like last year's plan with your new ideas and with your new ideas built in. One that I love is your boss's plan. Your boss has a certain style and way of doing things that he or she likes. If you take your boss's plan and you put it in here, and that becomes a template for your marketing automation plan, it comes out the way your boss likes it. And of course, you can use these days, you can get a McKinsey plan or you can get them from various companies that have built these out and displayed previous years online. Find the one you like, or even find two that you like and say, use this area, this aspect of this one, but this aspect of the other one. Feed these two as templates into the AI in conjunction with your well thought out idea that the AI pulled from you, and in conjunction with your stronger upfront meta prompt. And boy, your marketing automation plan will really ratchet up. In terms of this, you don't have to necessarily create this plan yourself, the template. You can go online and find some, or you can even go to AI and say, hey, create a marketing automation plan template that is, and tell it what you want the template to look like. You can then look at that template generically without your ideas in it and see whether it's the style you want. If it is, you can take what AI has fed you. One way to do that is to feed it the elements of the marketing automation plan you do want and the ones that you don't. So you can say, I obviously want number 1, I obviously want business goals and KPI, but I don't think for this year I'm ready for an AI personalization strategy. I don't want to really change our technology stack very much, so I don't need anything there. Resource and budget we do later in the year. This is more a visionary plan than it is a budgetary plan. And so you can take in or put out the pieces that you want. And there may be some pieces that you want to add here that are otherwise not there. So when you combine this, then you're the plan the template that you've created, your idea, the much stronger prompt, your marketing automation for plan that comes out of AI is going to be much more aligned with what you actually wanted. Finally, there's level 5, and this is interactive AI editing. And this very well may not be new to many of you guys, but what this basically means is once you have your plan that's come out of the AI agent, there are ways in AI to edit it or refine it in partnership with AI, not just using a word processor, and you end up with a much stronger, an ability to just rewrite a particular section or just do something to a particular area of it. To give you an example of what that means, if I go over to ChatGPT here and I take a look at that original plan that it drafted me just off a very, very basic prompt, I can say to ChatGPT, open this in Canvas mode. And what it'll do, once I hit enter, once I click on enter, is that on the right-hand side, it'll open this up in a way in which I can edit it. You can see the word edit here in the upper right-hand corner. And on the left-hand side is sort of the conversational history that I've had with the AI. So I can click up here on open this in Canvas mode once it's done. or I'm sorry, not click on open this. I can click on edit. I'm going to click on edit here. There's my conversation on the left-hand side. Here's the canvas on the right-hand side. And the beauty of this is I can now jump to a section of what's here. And I can say, hey, take this section, and I can right mouse click and I can ask ChatGPT, and I can say, start off this section with a verbal, non-bulleted text overview of what is covered within the specific numbered items. And I can send that up, and I don't have to worry now about the whole rest of my document being changed, as so often happens with AI. It's just going to edit this section. It's just going to create this new opening just to this particular section. It's going to leave the bullets the same. It's going to leave the title the same. It's just going to add what I asked it to add. And I can do this on a section basis, as you just saw. I could say something like, rewrite this as if I was 10 years old, or rewrite this for a 10-year-old, something like that. And it'll make it substantially more basic in that particular case after rewriting it. Not sure you'd want that example in real life, but I think you get the idea. So level 1 is meta prompting or pre-prompting. Level 2 is recursive prompting, getting it to ask you questions to take you through a needs analysis process. Level 3 is adding an example as a design doc template or your boss's template. Level 4 is editing it within. And then, and if we look at those all together, this is kind of what we're looking at: level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. So the last level, what we call continuous availability, I'm going to pop into sort of summarize here where we're at. Continuous availability is the ability to use this with the rest of your team on an ongoing basis and ask questions. Now, the only tool that we've found that will do this right now effectively is Claude. And what Claude will do is it'll allow you to create a project. I'm just going to pop over here for a second and click on projects. And you can see it's got your projects, it's got your team projects, it's got projects that were shared with you. And so you can go to the team section, you can see other team sections, those shared with you. And you can go in here, you can create a new project, and you can name your project. So you could call it Marketing Automation Strategy 2026. You could describe your goals. You could make this visible to everybody in the company, or you can have specific groups of people, maybe just in your marketing automation executive group or whatever that you want to have it. And then after you create your project, keep this one private because it's a test, obviously. Then what you can do is you can drag in all of your documents that you want to have in this. You can have multiple documents in it, and you can have conversations and chats, and all of the conversations and chats can be shared. So now what you have is a shared location where your strategy is stored, perhaps your team meetings, the transcripts from your team meetings are stored, all of your specific strategy status reports, perhaps metrics can be put in here. And then what happens is anyone in the company or anyone in your team that you have access to this can come in and start a chat and ask a question. Like, how well are we aligned with our 2026 goals? Or how well are we doing, of the last meeting we held, how much of it was tied to our strategy and how much of it was not? And so that's a wonderful tool to keep you on track with your strategy as the year progresses. And that's really what I'm calling here level 6. Um, and so that's sort of an overview of how to achieve a higher level of AI engagement in building a 2026 executive marketing automation plan. And so now, Sebastian, I will pass it back to you for questions and to go from there.
Thank you, Mark. As a reminder, if you have questions, please use the Q&A option. And we actually do have a couple of questions. Let me read through them. The first one for you, Mark, is it possible to incorporate recent industry benchmarks and best practices into planning?
Sure. I mean, we talked about, especially if you're doing the envisionment, the brainstorming plan creation, putting in industry benchmarks and asking the AI to incorporate, from where your company is to attaining those benchmarks is something that certainly could be asked of the AI to incorporate into the plan. And then, as I mentioned earlier, it's very important to edit that yourself and make sure it fits in with your goals. Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Second question that we received here is, I like my boss's planning template, but not all of it. How do I ask the AI to ignore those parts?
You literally just ask it. In your prompt, when you when I talked about meta prompting up above, just take that meta prompt that comes out and edit it to refer to what you don't like about that plan and tell it to ignore it. Another thing you can do if the plan portion that you don't like is segmentable, is editable, is you could, take your boss's plan and say, hey, I don't like this particular section on such and such. Just take it out. Then the AI won't have it as a template. So you can either take it out by telling the AI, or you can just take it out of the context. Taking it out of the context is probably most effective if it is in fact easily severable as part of the document. Sometimes it might be something that's more spread throughout the document. Perhaps the doc, your boss is too long-winded, or perhaps some other quality that's embedded throughout the document. In that case, you'd have to just prompt the AI to do it.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mark. Third and last question. We don't plan to change our stack, but I want that reflected in the plan. What do you suggest?
I would probably use an appendix. Um, Anytime something sort of distracts from the overall marketing automation plan, but yeah, is important to have there in case you get asked questions about it. That's what I love appendices for. Just put your existing marketing stack in the appendix. At the bottom or top of the appendix, add a comment or a clause that says, we're not planning any changes to our marketing stack in 2026. Here's our current marketing stack for reference. That shows you didn't forget it, you didn't not think about it, but simultaneously, when reading the main plan prior to the appendices, doesn't distract from the areas you are trying to focus and center in on.
Okay, that's all the questions we have for now. Back to you, Mark.
All right. So,
Okay.